limping quite badly. There's quite a lot of walking wounded.
No, you did right. The gossip to wait for his debrief tonight from the first thing that springs to mind is, as you mentioned, I might regarding the other injuries, like I mentioned this morning, to make it work. Let's hope he can make it work. As the last fast chicane, the last turn, structurally the most adrenaline I've ever felt on a bike. It was wonderful.
Pre-commentary days, I used to go and stand right at the crest and watch
slipstream someone on the brakes, because you have no air across them. You need to get out of that toe on the brake, in behind another bike. When they're trying to brake, they can't, you know. And it was the first time I can easily hold the throttle on full. The bike is...
Oh, Giacomo Agostini, he was there 3 weeks ago at the French line with the checkered flag. No great surprise to Iago back on home.
It's not called FP anymore. A P1 and a gear, because the rest of the time they're spending it make that tyre work the best. You know, engine brake.
Liz and Jack Miller, those two have been going on down that Aprilia garage.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone. And it's very much suck it and see from here on in. Massimo wasn't...
Pit stop here in Mogelo, raring to go from his was riding around Barcelona on the third, hosting that special ceremony here in Mogelo section. Now they'll flick it hard right. The bottom end.
Yeah, quite scary, because it's the sort of
everything that he's been through, and we know that the Honda right now, it's not
machine.
It looks like he is back to his best. Now then,
yeah, exercise and rehabilitation, but he didn't. Morning he was quickly up there, and but I think at the end of this practice he will for sure put it.
Raul this morning inside the top 10. We know the issues he's had.
In one of the best MotoGP races we've seen in the Moto. Danilo Petrucci did just that. As we said, it was one of the classic forget.
Yeah, I'm not going to forget it, because it was the first time in it. You could see how much it meant to him, and you could see, you know, how to win and more. And it's just not as quick, you know, if you have to
try and turn it into a positive, not think about
Sunday race and the pressure and all that. You know, Matt, it gets even closer on Sunday. Riders fighting for it, so yeah, that's where the wing on the seat unit.
We've got Paolo Campanotti as well, of course, former rider for the Pramac, a couple of seasons to pretty much try every bike on the grid.
Yeah, definitely Ducati, that's Mercedes, then the KTM RC16. Chance to have tried this absolute.
In for Enea Bastianini in those 2.5, 3 years.
For sure, the let's say the problem, the issues are really more. The power is really to go forward instead of going sideways. I ever tried.
Do you have your helmet and levers here just in case?
To America. What's next? We're sticking down some ice speedway. Hearing from him about the strengths of this current Ducati package, the reason why. Morning.
I really think a lot of people themselves comfortably in that time attack. The people that need the two tyres, practice one this morning when we mentioned the new Pedrosa ran at Jerez and the speed and turning. But the other things that I've noticed last year sitting here, you know, they've been trying all, and that points to me that's, you know, so like look at the speed you come onto the straight here, and everywhere else is to fight that, to combat the wheelie.
Lots of this is who I just grabbed a word with. The strength is still the key issue at the in between here and the morning. Had an incident with a pretty hefty medical bill down at the Ducati box at the moment.
To the Mugello paddock here this morning, a very much walking moon. That's now crash number 12 on that unforgiving Repsol.
Having a tough time. I genuinely feel sorry for him. The reason I was telling you about the longer swing arm, that Jack noticed the pivot has moved forward, and also longer the swing arm, the more weight you're putting on the front. They're exactly the same. Exaggerate it and you'll get the answer.
It is fast straight out the gate. A very confident looking Brad Binder. Mogelo needing the heavy icing after just a short stint outside of the best pace. Just for your reference, that Anzarco it is that leads the way on the Prima Pramac decade. You do wonder whether a later spark.
I can imagine what's running through his mind, Spike. So I get, they both have the caliber.
Do that donkey work. He's here through the hard yards because he wants things to point out, as we mentioned. If that's not going to happen, world title.
Yeah, fair enough too.
Absolutely, that's part of the game. Does lose Marc Marquez, one of the best talents we've ever seen in the history of the sport. Alex Marquez were fighting for the top places in Le Mans, clipping the inside. Any kind of upper limb injury.
The reason it's so physical and the reason I believe, with second gear, but there's a couple of third gear ones. Basically, it's so physical, and
what that also does, it means you're having to compensate with other parts of your stamina
on air. Everybody, and I learnt one that the initial motor wind running over them, but so then they came out with the rear bike and making a big gap around the front wheel, allowing. And in recent years, they've been working on turning, speed something, or
with the aero and the fairings and the impact on winning here in 2021. The Yamaha always working well. Now I can hear it in our headsets with like a 12 km/h speed. He's not even looking at that RC213 is he near the
time attack.
Yeah, that yellow flag has cancelled that last lap. A little bit further ahead of his teammate.
Is down, on speed. Front straight, you're not accelerating from first gear like the last races more. It's going to be hard.
He's going to have a fire on his hands here as well. Pyle, the man who's just 1 point behind Bagnaia in the World Championship, going on the factory KTM. He's fourth, and Ralph Fernandez going to get to see the Ralph Fernandez, the man who pushed Remy Gardner all the way in that 18 months for in MotoGP. Better going into, well, that's in between Biondetti's 1 and 2, isn't it? Where he took that decision to undertake a fourth before the storm. It's advantage Bezzecchi's had a good charge as well. He was outside the top 10 this morning. Men in the World Championship head out on circuit together. Bezzecchi.
This morning I was thinking of Jack Miller, around 2/10.
Just absolutely, completely 3 years ago when Maverick just crumbled on that solitary point between those two going into the sprint race. 4 and 5. And look at Marc Marquez hugging the course of P1 at the moment.
And what Mark
He brings the X factor to MotoGP, doesn't he? Now on the soft rear tyre, he placed here in the slipstream as they nudge 360 km/h last year, and now Pecco Bagnaia and inside that top 10. The Gian Antonio then on the inside, you can see it was Snake down in 20th place. Alex Marquez then, a 140 will take the checkered flag. Whether this lap is cancelled or not, there's a big
Someone
kick of
there.
dust up there coming through to Spargaro. What a ride! What a job!
Luca Marini making it as well with his